Lizwe. Today we'll be wrapping up on our last week Friday topic in terms of the greatest single thing that COVID-19 will have brought to you. What is the greatest thing that you think COVID-19 has brought to you? Whether it's self-introspection, whether you are doing your own internal finding to say the path I'm in, is it the right path or what? Firstly, if you can see the topic is saying interrupted. On Friday, we've got comments that were coming in that our stream or our Facebook Live, it is not streaming. It only did that for 4 minutes. So we're just finalizing that to tell you what we had for you last week Friday. And then as you can see there, we are talking about the single greatest opportunity that we think COVID-19 has brought to our society. What are those things there? As I've mentioned, my name is Lizo Mknebe, and I help executive small business entrepreneurs or executives to realize the potential that they have when they optimize their people, processes, and system so that they can get their return on investment. So good morning, and then welcome to Tea with Lizwe today. So today we will be doing 2 sessions. So we'll do this session now, and then we'll wrap up this session and go to the second session. So please stay with us. And if you like what we are doing, please comment below, or also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is just my full name, Dozelizwe Benjamin Mknebe, in your YouTube channel, where we have Tea with Lizwe. And then I think for the guys that are already following us, there are other sessions that are coming very soon. So we are talking about this one, which will be full blast. We'll never miss a day. We'll do this session every day on weekdays. And then we are having other sessions that are coming soon. We're talking about your lunch with Lizwe. We are talking about cocktails with Lizwe. We are talking about dinner with Lizwe. And we are talking about as well late nights with Lizwe. And then we suggest that if you have any topic that you want us to discuss, please email us those topics at ndozelizwe@gmail.com, at ndozelizwe@gmail.com, or put your comments on the subscription or on your Facebook Live comment session, and then we'll be gladly happy to take your topic and consider it. And then there are surprises that are coming through. We've got big names that are already interested in our late night with Lizwe, where we'll be discussing issues around business. We'll discuss issues around work environment, because we can see now with COVID-19, a lot of things around the workplace is going to change. On our second episode on our Facebook Live, we talked about the workplace or the work at home work policy that is there, that the other guys were interested in us sharing it with them, and we've already emailed them that as well. So those are the other aspects of the things that we'll be looking at. So, but let's look at this one. So if you look, your COVID-19 is a game changer. It is an opportunity for other businesses to explore other avenues that they are having. It's an opportunity for SMME to realize and say, is what we are focusing on the right thing, or we need to change our strategy as well in order for us to focus on essential services. We've seen the industries that are doing it a lot will be your pharmaceuticals. They are doing very well during this pandemic. We've seen the manufacturing sector, especially in your agricultural sector. the food line production. Those guys are doing very well. It can be either your crop, or can be either your feedlot or your livestock breeding as well. They are doing very well in line with that, because food security is one of our biggest concern at the moment. And then if you can see in television, they are saying other shops around, their shelves are running empty. So you can just see that it's a tremendous amount of work, and then a lot of opportunities that we need to focus on when going through this pandemic, when we are doing strategies to say our businesses now must focus on these issues. So those are the things that we need to look at as well going forward. And then if you look at the other one, it's your manufacturing as well, your test kits for your coronavirus, and then you are looking at the other aspects as well, where you are looking at your, we'll be looking at issues like your, what do you call this thing? Issues like your mask as well. So your mask as well, the production line for the mask as well will be very important when going forward in line with this one as well. And then if you look at the other aspects as well of that, we'll be looking at issues like your, we've talked about food, we're talking about logistics now, transportation, your logistics companies, because you have to have food transported from point A to point B. So those are the other aspects as well that we need to look at going forward. And then so there's a lot of things that we need to think around your shipping. I've just realized on Friday that in the wine industry, they've decided that they are no longer going to ship the wine, which I think was defying whatever lockdown procedure or lockdown status quo that was put out there by the government, because wine was still delivered. So they've decided on last week Friday that they will stop doing that as well. So those are the other aspects that you'll see. You can see behind me, there's a make free. The computer is doing its own things that side updating. So I apologize for that as well. And then if you look, so those are the other aspects of businesses where we need to look at going forward. So if you look there, you have to think of COVID-19 as a level. We are all equal in COVID-19 pandemic. So we are starting from scratch. If you have a financial, your financial year started in January, it simply means your gigs have been cancelled, or the other gigs have been postponed. So the income that you were opting to go for will no longer is no longer going to be there. So in order for you now to diversify your business, you have to diversify your business by looking at whatever industries that we have put out there, because that is where the future is going. So let us also put the government message out there to say the government has encouraged us as their citizens to stay at home. We know there was a court case in terms of alcohol, which the president has declared that alcohol and cigarette will no longer be sold until the lockdown is finished. So we must adhere to that condition as well. So we know that coronavirus kills. So it is very imperative that we stay at home and be safe. And then the other thing that is going to boom a lot is your streaming, your Facebook, your Zoom, your video. So we need to be up to date with that. We've just seen with the presidency statement that Parliament will resume its duties. In fact, I think they will resume their duties this week using Zoom, where they will work in the comfort of their homes, where business as usual must go on in Parliament as well. We don't want to see what is happening in other countries where government is in a recess and then other bills are not passed. But with our government, the way they've handled this thing, I think it's superb. All credit must go to the member of the COVID-19 support team, to the presidency as well, because all the ministers are working together to make sure that they control this. So you can just see that with this pandemic, there are issues of food securities now. Communities are complaining, so food production is going to play an important role. So those are the things that we need to look at as well. So how do you now do your 7-step coronavirus prevention? We need to make sure that we wash our hands, we avoid touching our eyes and nose and mouths. We must always cover our mouth when we cough, either into an elbow or a tissue. We must avoid crowded places. We must avoid that. Stay at home if you feel unwell, and then if you have a cough, you must call a doctor, or having a difficulty, call a doctor before you can even go and see the doctor. And then you must use information that you see on social media. You must use it with sensitivity, because some of the information is not true. So you always have to get your information from reliable sources. So that is what we will want to put out there as well. So if you look, that is what we have for you for today. And then we need to make sure that we manage this crisis. We need to make sure that everything that we are doing in business, because remember, the government as well has put out there their support system to say there's a fund for this. And then especially in agriculture, in your mask production industry as well, they've put out a nice template to say they are looking for suppliers. I've seen in our South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry newsletter that the government has said with a combination with your discount, they are only going to procure the masks that are done at the township level. So they are supporting the SMMEs. So if we are SMMEs, we need to be ready. We need to have our documentation right, so that we don't hit a halt or a barrier where, when we are supposed to be supported by government, then we found that we don't have the necessary documentations that are required. So let us prepare our documentation. And then, as I said, this came in line with your South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And then the government of South Africa, they've encouraged SMMEs that are doing mask production. They must contact them. If you want information, you can just put there under the comment, then we'll supply you with that. But I think it has been doing circulation all over. But if you have not got the news yet, so you can just do that with us, and then we can circulate that to you, so that you do your part as well. Because remember, we can do parts in different ways. We can do parts by communicating the message. We can do parts by donating. We can do parts by donating our time as well as volunteers. And then the other part of doing is if we do mass production of the mask, and then we give them to government. So that is how we are handing our hand to government. So there's a lot of opportunities when you look at the pandemic, and then beyond. There's a lot of things that are going to happen beyond it. And then your likelihood of surviving this pandemic will tell your business survival strategies as well. So your business can survive if your likelihood in terms of your risk assessment or your mitigations were done properly in line with any pandemic. Remember what happened with Wimbledon. In Wimbledon, we've just heard that they've won a settlement from their insurance company, because they insured for $2 million US every year since 2008, when there was a SARS pandemic as well. And then it paid off, because if you look now, they were awarded every year. They are paying a subscription of $2 million. They were awarded now 141 US million dollars. So you can just imagine, because they are not going to handle their tournament this year. So, but at least because they've insured for this pandemic, they are going to get rewarded for that. So as I said, that is what we had. So when you think of insurance, next time when you do your contracts, put in there, for any pandemic, you need an insurance that is going to cover us for that, so that we become wise. So there's a lesson that we need to learn from this one. There's a lesson that says we need to diversify our business to provide for essential services. there's a diversification of saying we need to maintain or have a mass production of the ventilators. As engineers, we don't have to depend on other nation for them to provide us with ventilators. So let us be aware of what is going to happen and how is it going to grow our business or make or break our business when going into the future. So from today, on the interrupted session of COVID-19, I thank you very much. And then please subscribe, please put in your comment, and then we'll also fine tune our systems this side to be adhering to the conditions of this Facebook Live. Thank you very much. Till we see you again. Thank you.